Okay, welcome everyone to week 5 of our bootcamp. And today is about the management review and how you run a yearly cycle using the CyberJuice platform. So the yearly cycle is really to maintain and continuously improve your information security system. So we're going to talk about continuous improvement and your first management review meeting, which is really a milestone in this work, and then how to use the year wheel in CyberJuice platform to make it easier to remember and get stuff done, and also to be ready for an audit. So there's something called an internal audit. And what it really is to check what you say in your policies. Is that also what you do in reality? So what you do in an internal audit is you look at the policies and you take some notes on a few things you want to sample check. For example, if there's in the policy, it says we are doing a backup every month of some particular system, then you make a note and say, I want to check this. And then you have a little checklist and you go out and you actually look in those systems or ask the people who can show you, well, can you show me that we have a backup for the last 3 months, for example. So that's how you do a sample check to make a little control of what we say in our policies. Is that also what we're doing in reality? And then so this is an internal audit. It means that it's something you do for yourself. An external audit is where someone from outside your organization, an auditor, a certification body come and check you like this. So this is like a test exam. You're like testing your own system. And when you do this, you may find that there are some non-conformatives. And what does that mean? It just means that, well, you said you were going to do this, but when you looked, you saw that you're not completely following this policy. So you're not conforming to your own policy. And whenever you find such a gap, you have to note it down and do a corrective action. So register what you found. Well, when you do the audit, you always register what you find. You register this was okay, or you register, oh, there's a gap, and then you have to do something about it. And it can be really simple. You don't have to create a new big system for this. If you already have a ticketing system, for example, that you use for the box or something else, you can just put it in there and say, oh, we found something. We want to fix it. We want to find the root cause, and we're going to do something about this. The main point is that you register this and you have a little process for how to close the gaps. And one thing to know about internal audit, one rule is that you cannot audit yourself. So let's say you are the IT manager and you're also doing the audit, and there's some things that you're responsible for. Maybe it's the backups. Then you need to have another colleague check you on those backups, because you cannot, checking yourself doesn't really work. This is a control mechanism. So then we register that we have done this, and that's one of the things that we do to continuously improve the ISMS, as it's called. And in the yearly management review, we're looking at how we're doing overall, so that we have the top management in the room and the people that can say yes to some budgets. And we look at more the strategic and the high level view of things, like how we're doing overall. Is there anything we need to invest in, improve, or change? And one little note, because now we're talking both about DSEAL and ISO 27001. And internal audit is a mandatory part of ISO 27001, but it's actually not part of the DSEAL. So here you don't have to do an internal audit, but it's good to understand the concept anyways, because you will get an external audit and they will actually do the same. They will look at your policies and then they will do sample checks and say, we want documentation for this and this and this, or share your screen, open this system, show me your backups, or show me your settings, that you have MFA enabled, stuff like that. So that's actually how they do it. Okay. So the first management review meeting. It's an important milestone because it actually marks the end of the implementation phase, or sorry, the documentation and the planning phase. So what does that mean? It means that you have defined all your policies and you have done some training of the like a first awareness training of the organization, or at least you have planned it, and you have your risk assessment. So those are like the big pieces. And now you can go into your management meeting and say, look, here's our big overview. We might still have some implementation things that are not done yet, some of those risk treatments or things we have put in our policies that we have not implemented yet. Let's say you want to buy a antivirus program, sorry, and install on all computers. Maybe you haven't done it yet, but you put it in one of your policies, and now it's in the plan for implementation. So then you can go into your management meeting and say, this is our plan, this is where we are, and we need some budget approved for this, for example. So it's an important milestone because it really marks that you're ready to start to implement what's missing and to start run the yearly cycle. And my biggest recommendation is to start really, really simple. Sometimes people want to put a lot of complicated KPIs already in the first management review meeting, and they make it very, very complicated from the beginning. So here, always remember that the principle is continuous improvement. So start simple. It's easily gonna get more complicated as you go, so you don't have to overcomplicate it from the beginning. And I have an example I'm gonna show on how you can do it in a simple way. So you can use this as a template actually. And if you do want a few KPIs, I also have examples of how you can start with some really simple ones. And then it's important to have, budget for any risk treatments or improvements. So really make sure you think about if you found some of those gaps or risk treatments that are needed, that this is included in the management meeting. Because this is typically where you have the people in the room that can actually approve the budget. And very important, make sure that you have minutes, so like a little decision minute from the meeting. Who is there? What decisions were made? So you have that on record, because that might be checked in an audit. So let's have a look at this presentation. So here's an example of how it can look, and you can simply copy and edit this. So let me just go through it. So first, a little purpose of the meeting. Provide an overview, discuss upcoming steps, future challenges, and then write down who is at the meeting and who is gonna be the minutes reference. An introduction, and reminding everyone that it has to be backed up by management and that it's mandatory. And here, this part, the strategic goals and objectives, this is something that you have put in your top level policy, so you can copy it from there. So this is just to remind everyone, these are actually our strategic goals. And then you can add KPI measurements. You don't have to do this in the very first version, but it's just to show an example. So for example, you could start with, we want all employees to have completed the basic security training. That's always a good one to start with. And let's say you have decided to use a password manager, then you can measure current, how many are using it, and maybe the goal is to get higher. So this is how you can start to measure on your security program. And then you can highlight the benefits. That's always nice. What have we already gained? And the status. Where are we? We have policies and procedures in place, risk assessment, and treatment plan. But we found out that we need a dedicated IT person to take responsibility. So this is a typical finding, actually, in smaller companies. And then the budget. So what is it we want to do? And what is an approximate budget we need? And then we want to talk about the risk so that management is informed and can approve at least on an overall level. So I like to do a summary version and say how many we have. So how many are red, how many are yellow. So if you have a red risk, it means it's a high risk in the risk assessment, and mitigation must be done as soon as possible. If yellow, we can plan, and if green, they are by default accepted. So in this example, we have many total. And then the top 5 go into what are actually the risks that we have seen and that we're working on. And here just some examples. What are we going to do about it? And what is the status? To give an overview like that. So I think this is a nice way to give an overview without getting into like a very, very detailed risk assessment, which can be quite, a big, it can be a long list, like we had 97 here, for example. Okay, and what are we going to continuously improve? So here we can come with some opportunities and recommendations. So this is what we want to do, and we would like maybe like management to say yes to this, or to at least be informed. Clarity about who will be IT manager, take that role. Improve security by getting password manager for everyone. And we also want to appoint a DPO, so we have that role covered. And we want to implement a feature for customers to upload sensitive data. This one is already done. And then we have some news we want to share. So this is an example of like what you can come to a management review meeting and present. And then record any actions, really important. And that will be noted in the record. And set a date for the next meeting. And I always like to end with a little clapping here. So this is how you can structure a management review meeting without making it super complicated. And who should then be in this meeting? So, of course, the project team who is working on the ISMS project, the DCL project, or the ISO project, and then someone from the top management. So in a smaller company, typically the CEO will be there. Sometimes it can be COO or CFO, but it's important that you have someone there who can make some budget decisions, and who are also driving the culture in the organization. So yeah, especially if you have some budget requests, they need to be in the room. Otherwise, you just need to have an extra meeting to get the budget approved, which is of course also a possibility. Okay, and then you have reached a milestone, very big milestone, because now you're ready to start the cycle of continuous improvement. So you have different celebration styles. So you can think about which style are you. Sometimes people say I'm missing a beer in this screen. So yeah. Okay. So how can we use the CyberJuice platform for this year wheel activities? Well, it's built in to the platform. So let's have a look. And just want to check everyone is still with me. Who's here? Yes, all good. So now we're inside CyberJuice platform. And if we go down here to year wheel, so let me just first show you. I have my policies here. I've filled out a few policies, employee security handbook, top level policy, and password policy. And I can actually see here that I have habits and I have events. Here I also have some gaps. So just a reminder, gaps are one-time tasks that need to be implemented in the policy. Events are recurring tasks, so they go into the year wheel. And habits are these employee habits that we can measure with our habit survey. So this is stuff that we always do or never do. So it's this culture measurement we have here, really. And so we're going to focus on the events, or also called recurring tasks. And they are in here. So here I can see from the employee security handbook, I have an event here. All employees get yearly security training and habit survey. So I have to make sure all employees get the training. And who is accountable for this is the information security manager once a year. And now we haven't started this yet, so it doesn't have any due dates. So I can do two different things. Either I can plan a start date by clicking here and picking a date, or I can simply say I'm going to do it now. Let's say I just did it today, and I want to register. Well, this has been done today, and it was me. And I can even upload a file if I have some evidence and I want to show, like a proof that I did it, or make a note, send it out. Most people have answered. I'll check again. Oh, and I get a little great job here, a little love. And see now, because I did it, it says when did I do this, who did it, and next time I need to do it is a year from now. If I want to see what I registered, I can see it in here. So auditors love this because then they can see that we've actually been doing our task and our year wheel. So this is very nice. And let's say I'm gonna plan for my yearly management review. So actually we just had it, but let's say I'm gonna plan this. I want to do it next month. So I'm going to put it here, the due date. So now I have due date next month here. So this is how we can use the year wheel. And I'm also going to get email notifications if I have any of these roles. I'm going to get notifications if something is overdue. And also up here, I'll be able to see them. Yes. Any questions about this? How this works? Nope. Well, then we can move on to homework. And yeah, so the homework is, and of course I know that sometimes it takes a little bit longer to go through all the cyber tasks to create all the policies. But the focus now should be to finish the policies and finish the risk assessment if that is not complete yet. And then send out the training survey. So that's the employee handbook, where there's a training with, and then there's a habit survey. And then you're ready to have your first management review meeting. And remember to celebrate. And just a recap of where we are. So we should do the risk. We should have done the risk assessment by now, and be underway with the policies. Might still be some missing, depending on how fast you go. And then you should be ready to send out the first training. You can also plan it for a bit later if you don't want to overwhelm everyone. And after these 3 pieces are in place, we can have a management review meeting, and that is a milestone for starting the yearly cycle. So we are right here, and next week I'm going to show you how you can use what you have to actually prepare documentation package for sharing with externals, and how to really use this as an advantage when talking to customers and showing how well you're doing on your security, and how you can document and create trust in this way. So that's going to be really exciting. We had a project with the IT University to look into how SMEs use different methods to demonstrate their security, and this is some of what I'll share next time. So yeah, and after that, we just run your continuous improvement program, and everyone's happy, and you get the culture baked in. Okay. Do we have any comments or questions? Maybe I'll stop the recording.